Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new melee weapon that just came with Season 3, the Gladiator, and if you missed the Tonfa, you're definitely going to love this thing. Not only does it handle bosses really well, but we were able to take out the Stormcaller with a little bit of a twist. With that, welcome on back to the channel, everybody. If y'all don't know, my name is Ghost. I appreciate everybody that stops by the video today. If you're into zombies content or anything Call of Duty, consider rocking the hell out of that like button and subscribing to the channel. We're so close to 15,000 subscribers. You guys have just been killing it with all the support on the channel lately. Unfortunately, guys, halfway through this first match, we ended up crashing and I ended up losing absolutely everything, which makes me want to bring up today's sponsor. Shout out to Damn Mods for sponsoring today's video. Whether you're tired of getting shadow banned on Warzone or you really want to unlock that Borealis camo in Modern Warfare Zombies, well, Damn Mods has completely got you covered. Call of Duty isn't the only stopping point. Whether you play games like Helldivers 2, Forza, Palworld, Red Dead Redemption, Damn Mods can definitely help you out with almost any of your favorite games. With so many great reviews on Trustpilot, it's an absolute no-brainer to check them out. Links are down in the description. Use code GHOST to check out for 5% off your entire order. Thank you so much to Damn Mods for sponsoring today's video. I'm sure you guys could tell from the start of this video, I came in here absolutely stacked with everything. We had Etherblade, golden armor plates, we had 2 refined crystals, I even slapped a legendary tool on this thing. 'Cause I've been hearing some really good things and I just wanted to see for myself. We came straight into the second tier zone and I got an HVT on this Disciple here and he went down almost immediately. I started thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, we may have something here. I saw this Mangler that was standing right next to him and yep, he went down in 2 taps, guys. From what I can tell, this melee weapon does handle like regular zombies great, especially in the second tier zone and even in the red tier zone, but the main problem is it does suffer the same problem that the majority of the rest of the melee weapons do. That's when you're dealing with like 2 or 3 zombies, it's alright, but when you start getting overwhelmed with like a horde, yeah, that's when you're gonna start running into some issues. Probably be a good idea to pair this thing up with like an Etherblade or another weapon, possibly a Wonder Weapon. But I said to myself, since this thing is already doing this good, why don't we try to kill that Stormcaller? And I looked and I noticed on the map, I'm like, oh no, this guy's in the red tier zone. And keep in mind, we're still only sitting at a PAP level of 2, so I was a little bit skeptical when I went into this. After whacking him with it only a few times and seeing a nice little chunk of his health fall off, I was like, alright, this is definitely doable. Definitely would have helped us a bit more if we would have got that PAP 3, but we're still gonna get it done here. Having that Etherblade trying this definitely saved our life. I don't think we would have been able to do it without it. These tier 3 zombies just running all around this Stormcaller while trying to do this is a complete pain in the ass. So far from what I can tell though, guys, this is definitely the best melee weapon to use in the game. This is definitely right up there with the Tonfa, if not as powerful as the Tonfa used to be. Right now, I'm really thinking this is probably the second best way to kill the Stormcaller. Now, of course, we do have the VR11 and getting that thing up to PAP 3. You should be able to take care of the Stormcaller pretty easily as well, but with this thing, this is something that anybody can equip at any point in time. Well, as long as you get it out the battle pass anyway. Another little tip I can give you guys for defeating the Stormcaller is when you're doing something like this, especially with a melee weapon, you're going to want to be doing continuous damage to him. You're really surprised how fast that this guy can regain his health from sucking it back up through those zombies or back through you. These guys do have a shield effect as well, where you have to break through that shield in order to cause a bunch of damage, and if you wait too much time, they will regenerate that shield back and you're gonna have to re-break it. There it is, guys. We ended up defeating the Stormcaller in the red tier zone with this thing only at a PAP level of tool. Yes, we did have a legendary ether tool put on it. The damage that this melee weapon is putting out to bosses is just insane, guys. I'm loving it. Of course, he dropped us that golden skull, which we're gonna sell at the buy station, and he also dropped us a ray gun, which it's just a damn shame what they did to that weapon in this game. Next, we ended up getting this HVT on a Mega Abomination down here, and we still only have a PAP 2. I was really kind of hoping for something that would be a little bit easier for this thing, like maybe a Mangler or a Disciple, a Mimic, but we got this and I'm all in for it, man. I'm not gonna lie, guys, there is so many better weapons that you can use in this game. To do this, melee weapons are definitely not always the best option to choose when fighting the Mega Abominations, even when they are extremely OP. But this thing was actually handling itself quite decently. Like, I was able to pop that first head off pretty fast, and that's what kind of made me think, alright, we're gonna do this. Kind of feel like a man fighting a grizzly bear with a fork, but we're gonna get it done. Wish we were in a little bit of a better spot, like I had something to stand on top of, like a dead vehicle or something. That way I could just be right at the right height to be meleeing those mounts, but I kind of figured out a trick and it's pretty simple. All you guys are gonna have to do is when he starts shooting those beams at you, get directly underneath of them and then jump and melee at the mounts. Would I recommend that you guys do this? Probably not. There's so many, like I said, there's so many other ways that you can kill these things. You can do it with thermites, you can do it with the VR11. The new SMG melts these Mega Abominations so fast, it's almost comparable to the flamethrower. Especially when you throw on that MAGA holding, man, that new SMG is just absolutely nutty. For a melee weapon and something that you can put on as a good secondary that has good movement and just absolutely deletes bosses, this thing is amazing. We still got quite a bit more testing to do, but from what I can tell so far, I think this thing will definitely make the top 7 best weapons to use in Season 3 list. Even if it's just for the ability of taking out that Stormcaller quickly, there's really just not very many weapons in this game that can do it that fast. Speaking of the top 7 best weapons to use in Modern Warfare 3 list, let me know down in the comments section what you guys have been rocking or what you think should be on the list. Definitely always looking for suggestions and things to try out. The community has actually surprised me quite a few times with some really killer loadouts. Look at that, guys, we finally got the last head off of this guy, and we are kind of struggling out here. He's just charging us, just refusing to die. Finally, after whacking this Mega Abomination what felt like damn near a million times, he did finally die. Now, this is one thing that I might be able to give this Gladiator over what the Tonfa used to be, is I don't remember the Tonfa being able to take down Mega Abominations. I could be wrong on that, maybe I just didn't try it, but I remember the Tonfa being really good with like the Stormcaller and all the other bosses, but I don't really remember him with the Mega Abominations. This handled this one pretty well. I gotta say, the loot out of this contract could have definitely been better. Like, come on guys, a self-revive and a damn raw crystal for fighting this thing for that long with a toothpick? Like, come on. And this is where it all went downhill for me. I went over to the Pack-a-Punch and I got the third Pack-a-Punch on this Gladiator, and I got an HVT, and when I was on my way over to the HVT, it decided to crash, and that's when I lost absolutely everything. Now, I do have to admit, I do play on PS5, and the crashing over here seems to be not so much. Like, I really don't crash that often, but when I do, especially in the middle of a good run like that, and I end up losing all of that really good stuff that I brought in, man, that just sucks. So we came back in here, and I was able to bring a couple good things. Like, we did have another legendary ether tool to put on here. We're gonna have to get those Pack-a-Punches while we're in here, and I did bring in another VR11 just for that in case. We're also gonna make a very quick stop over at Pop-Off Power just so we can find ourselves a 3-plate vest and a large backpack. Now, this place is gonna be located at F2. Now, these items don't always spawn in here, but what it is it's gonna be these lockers. If you see these light blue skinny lockers, they have a really high chance of spawning in backpacks and vests. When we were over at Pop-Off Power, we were only able to find a 3-plate vest and a medium backpack, but when I came into the red tier zone and I was putting that Pack-a-Punch on the Gladiator, I saw some more of those lockers, and I decided to look in there. What do you know, we found a large rucksack. Now, we do have a PAP-3 on this thing, and I decided to try it out on that Disciple that was hanging out around the Pack-a-Punch machine, and just a single tap, guys. Next, we got an HVT on this Mimic here in the red tier zone, and he ended up putting up a pretty good fight. Now, this one was probably a little bit of stupidity on my part. I think if I would have backed away for just 2 seconds to let myself kind of heal up, I would have finished this fight. We ended up killing each other at the same time, just luckily I had a self-res. Next, we got another HVT on another Mega Abomination. Now, I don't know why, but whenever I'm fighting these damn things lately, they're always putting them side by side like these things are mating. I was halfway through this fight, somebody ended up putting a turret mod up there inside of that turret, so you know what, I'll actually take that, because this was honestly being a pain in the ass. But one of the Mega Abominations ended up dropping me another refined crystal, so I'm definitely going to take that. All in all, I can definitely say this is a melee weapon that you guys need to try out to come in here and defeat some of them bosses and just have some fun. Unfortunately, it really does suck, because on our first run, I ended up bringing in an Elder Sigil, and I was going to end up taking this thing into the Dark Ether to test it in there, especially against that HVT. But of course, we crashed, and unfortunately, I just didn't have another one, and we spent a large majority of the time in this match just grinding out those tier 3 contracts, and we didn't get a single sigil. Man, that's some bullshit.